I'm going to cover 4 areas fairly quickly in our short demo here. I'm going to cover navigation, visualization capabilities, content creation, and some development capabilities in the workspace. So you can see I'm in the Planning Analytics workspace. Data or content is organized into a folder structure, so that's something users are very familiar with. You can create folders and subfolders to organize your content and navigate through the folders simply by clicking on them, and you'll see a snail trail of where you are within the folder structure up above. Within the folders themselves, content is organized in what are called Planning Analytics workbooks, or just books as we call them. And a book can really be anything. It can be a dashboard, it can be a data entry template, it could be a scorecard, KPIs, a combination of all those, a report. It's really up to the user and the developers what they want to present within those books. You'll also notice a shared space and a personal space as well. So shared content can be stored in the application, as well as private content for individual users who want to create their own personal content. Let's open up a book and see what a book looks like, or what it can look like. So here you see right away a much improved visualization capability within the TM1 Planning Analytics application. So this is a modern HTML5 built from the ground up application environment, providing rich visual capabilities, as well as all the capabilities that our legacy TM1 users are used to in terms of navigating data, data entry, data update, and so forth. So you can see here we've got a couple of different widgets on the screen. We've got what's called an exploration. For those used to TM1, this is really a cube view object. We've got a kind of a heat map, tree map down on the left, and we've got a word cloud visualization on the right. And you see dimension selectors allowing you to filter and select through that data set within that cube. So for example, if we change our version from actual to budget, we'll see the exploration updates, shows you that slice of the data, and you'll see the visualizations update as well, because these objects are all synchronized together, and you do have complete control over how those widgets are synchronized throughout the application. Familiar things to TM1 land, of course, drill down. When you see plus and minus signs and hierarchies, that means you can drill down or compress the level of detail that you see. Of course, these other dimension selectors can be filtered and drill down on those hierarchies as well. In addition, you have access to the subset editor. So again, familiar territory for TM1 users. So if you want to build your own subset, modify an existing subset, you have the ability to go into the subset editor and select a different subset to use, create a new subset on the fly, and save that subset on the server. Some additional enhancements that haven't historically been necessarily in TM1, for example, within the columns of the view itself, you can right-click on those, in addition to a number of options for keeping and hiding elements. You have sorting capabilities, but more important, you also have creating calculations. So you now have the ability, without going into the rules editor, to create a variety of calculations such as min, max, medium, average, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, percent of, and a percent change between two values can all be done. You can name and save that calculation as part of the exploration as well. So this goes to the notion of more self-service, more ease of use for novice users of the application. What I'll touch upon later, which you probably don't recognize right now, is the fact that we have a dimension called customer target, engine size, and engine type. Those aren't actually dimensions of this cube. These are actually attributes of our product dimension. And we can now render those attributes as virtual dimensions, virtual hierarchies, if you will, and allow you to organize the data around those hierarchies. So this is a new advanced feature in the latest version of Planning Analytics. Let me move to the region dashboard, just show you a different look. So there's a wide range of visualizations that you can have. You've seen the exploration. When we click on one of these widgets, you'll be presented with the menu, and one of these menu options is to change the visualization. So when you go to change a visualization, you'll see there's a range available. Of course, if we want the data grid and exploration, we can do that. Or you can choose from a number of different visualizations. The system does use some intelligence about the shape of the data you're looking at to try to give you a best guess of what a proper visualization would be. So those are usually the first ones that you'll see in the list. And it's easy enough then for a user to change that visualization on the fly. You'll also notice that we've got a graphic behind the scenes, so you have the ability to import graphics, layer those graphics, and there's a variety of other objects you can insert as well, such as web pages, videos, text objects, button objects, and so forth. Let's go into data exploration just to show some more TM1 type features and touch upon those virtual hierarchies. So in here we've got a geography dimension on the rows, a time dimension on the columns. I've shown you the drill in or expand hierarchies within the rows and columns, and of course, as you'd expect, you can drag and drop dimensions. So if we wanted to bring customer type into the columns of that view and look at our products by engine size, we could drag that into the rows of the views. So again, those are two attributes of our product dimension itself that we're able to bring onto the canvas and compare data across. And of course, the filtering and selecting, which we touched upon. You can also hide dimensions from the view. You can drag dimensions off onto the canvas. You'll notice that version and account are both kind of sitting up above the view itself. They've been pulled off of the view itself and dragged onto the canvas, which allows you then to position them anywhere on the screen, but still provide a link to the view itself and allow the user to filter and navigate data based upon those dimension selectors. Okay, so how would a user create some content in the application? So let's go ahead and go into edit mode, and let's add a new tab. And we have a series of templates available to help you organize and lay out the data in a dashboard format. I'm just going to use the free form, which gives me complete flexibility. And then you can name each of the tabs up above. Now our content is stored off on the left, and so I can navigate through one or more TM1 servers to pull in the content I want. So that's familiar capability to end users. But what's also nice for novice users is the ability to get data without knowing anything about the data structures or how to navigate a TM1 database. So they can just type in some search criteria up in the search bar. So we'll type in some search criteria, and the system will go off and find data sets that closely match what I'm asking for, and you'll get a list of results down below, and then you can filter through those results, take a preview of those, and when you find the content that you want, you can go ahead and click on Use, and it will drop that data onto the canvas. And now in this particular view, it's not showing us all the dimensions, it's just showing us the ones it needed to resolve the query that we had. So if we wanted to bring the rest of the dimensionality into the view, that's easy enough to do. We just click on these three dots and say Add All, and it will now drop those additional dimensions onto this view for us. And now, of course, we're free to reorganize the view any way we want. So if we want to look at this data by time, we can drag the time dimension into the columns. In this particular case, I might like to look at the data by channel and by product, and I don't want to see all the products, I just want to see the product lines or the brands that we have. So I'm going to minimize those hierarchies there. Now I've got a view that I'm happy with. Now to turn this into a visualization to give me a bit easier way to view this and understand the data, I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this view. So I'll go to its widget menu, select duplicate. It'll drop another view on the canvas. Now in this one, I might want to go and change the visualization first. I'm going to go ahead and synchronize these two views. So I'll select synchronize from the property menu. And now when I make a selection to one of the dimension filters, the two will update automatically. For example, if I go to the region and select the central region, you'll see the data updates on the two. And now let's go and change the visualization. And we'll just do a quick heat map here on this particular one. And since we don't need the dimension selectors on the visualization, we have the ability to hide those out of the view just so we show the canvas. And again, I'm going to go and change the background so the widgets blend in with my background. Of course, if I want to add an image, a logo of some sort, that's easy enough to do. We can go off to the internet, for example, and I'll just search for IBM. And there's IBM's logo, so I'm going to copy that image, and we'll go ahead and add an image widget to the canvas, drop in its location, and then we can size and position that anywhere we'd like on the screen. So I'm just going to move these two widgets down. You'll notice there's some handlebars and also position guidelines in the system to help you line things up very nicely. And then if we want to size this graphic down, we'll just position that. I mentioned some of the other capabilities. You know, there's action buttons, there's text widgets, you can insert media, you can insert web pages. We have a library of graphic shapes and of course the image that we pulled in. In addition to all that, you have the ability to leverage all the web sheets and Excel workbooks that you've built in TM1 in years past. So we can go back to our application folders. We can navigate through our various reports. We can find a web sheet that we'd like, and we can add that web sheet to the canvas. And now we've got the Excel workbook laid out as well. We can synchronize the widgets, the dimension selectors on the widgets as well, but this is in fact a very standard TM1 web sheet. Navigation through dimension hierarchies and filter, all of that works, as well as data entry and data update. So you can see that it's very easy for novice users to create dashboards, to create reports, to access content in this environment. And we can also share this content. So there's a share button up above. You can email it, you can download it. When you go to download it, you can have it as an image, as a PDF, or as a PowerPoint. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about development capabilities. So let's go and create a new book. So we're marching forward quickly into adding the full repertoire of model design and development capabilities into the environment. So you have the ability today to go in and edit dimensions, cubes, processes, create those objects. Very easy to do, very familiar to TM1 users that have been using it a while. Right-click on the dimension icon and select Create Dimension. Give it a name, and you get the dimension editor window. From here we can begin to insert new members, or we can copy and paste in members. I'll go off to a spreadsheet, grab some members. We'll drop those onto the canvas. And now within the dimension editor here, I can build my hierarchies. As I've done in the past, I can select my members and drag and drop those members to create proper hierarchy that I want. And we'll make East and West part of total company. So there's my dimension hierarchy. I have the ability to edit attributes. So over on the right, there's a button that we can show attributes, and then we can create new attributes, edit those, and create additional hierarchies from those objects. You can also create cubes. Here as well, so we can right-click, create a new cube, select the dimensions for this cube so we can scroll through the available dimensions that we have. So maybe I want to do something across months, and I'm going to use my new dimension that I created and maybe do that, have multiple versions of that data. Click on Create, and we now have a new cube on the canvas, and now we can start to add views of that data. And so we have a view template if you don't have a view already created, and you can simply drag the dimensions onto the canvas in the position that you want to begin to create your first view of the data in that cube. And now, of course, it's a matter of data entry, data import, slice and dice, navigate to fill out the data structure the way you'd like. And last but not least is the notion of these hierarchies based upon attributes. So let's go back to a view here of some data. So let's grab this particular cube and let's add that view to the canvas. So I've got data by region, by product here, but you'll notice that if we look at the dimensions of this model, in our product dimension, we also have attributes called engine size, engine type. These are automobiles, color, customer type, product type. These are all attributes, but they're available as virtual dimensions or hierarchies of the product dimension, and we can pull those onto the canvas to view the dimension, view the data in that way. So for example, if we'd like to view this data by engine size, I can pull engine size onto the canvas and view the data by engine size, and of course it shows me what products fill into that attribute. And I can also look at engine type in combination with that, so I can view it across more than one attribute at the same time. So this provides very rich capability for dynamic ad hoc analysis beyond what we've been able to do in the past on this data, make it very easy to create those hierarchies as well. And it also improves performance and reduces the size of the database, because now we don't have to include these as real dimensions of the model. They can simply be attributes of a dimension, and we can create up virtual dimensions and virtual hierarchies.